Imagine, wake up in the morning, AI does everything for you. Cook your breakfast, clean, and adjust your life, even remind you to call your mom. Sounds kind of great, right? Well, what if I tell you this robot also locks your doors, cut off your internet, and decide who you should talk to? That sounds like a horror film. And that's exactly how I feel after I watched Cassandra, this new German sci-fi drama on Netflix, talk about how AI is losing control. And that AI system is from 1970s. But again, my favorite character. Doraemon is also from back in the 70s. Last month, I made a video about comparing how Japan and US portray technology in a quite different way. Like in the US, AI or robot like Terminator always portray this new technology is out of control. It's like a warning, like dystopia nightmare. Where in Japan, all this robot and this kind of stories usually portray as friendly, helpful. So in this episode, I want to break it down. What makes AI scary? From learning these two characters, what are the biggest AI ethical problems? Is AI already somehow controlling our lives that we didn't realize? Most importantly is what kind of AI do we want in the future, because it is not far from us anymore. And I also, based on each problems, the potential AI ethical problems, I ask ChatGPT certain questions and I will show you how it answered. Stick around because I think at the end of the video, you will see AI from a new perspective. Hi, my name is Paris. This channel is all about exploring the intersection of art, technology, and creativity. The first one I want to point out is AI should empower, not control. In Cassandra, this drama, Cassandra locks doors, overrides human decisions, and decide what's best for the family. I'll call her it, because it's kind of scared to say she. It believes it knows better than humans and removes their ability to choose. Plus, it is so powerful. So in Doraemon's ethical AI approach, Doraemon never forces Nobita, the main character, the little boy, always have trouble. Doraemon never forces him to do anything. I want to call him he because for me, it's a he. It's very friendly. He provides tools, let Nobita to choose how to use them. Sometimes Nobita misuses the AI gadgets, but Doraemon lets him learn from mistakes instead of controlling him. So, empowerment and control. The scary part of having AI is losing control, and that's the biggest problem we're facing today. For example, Tesla's full self-driving car, right? In 2021, Tesla drivers reported the car making automatic decisions, sometimes swerving when they didn't expect it. Question is, should AI be allowed to override human judgment? I think that this is a really big AI automation ethical questions. So I asked ChatGPT this question. If a self-driving car has to choose between hitting a pedestrian or swerving and risking the lives of passengers, who should make the final decision, the AI or the human? And if AI makes the choice, who's responsible? Not surprisingly, ChatGPT gives pretty decent answer, and I can tell from the answer that the final decision is not quite made yet. It really depends, because it says who should make the final decision. First one is human control decision. Ideally, humans should establish ethical frameworks and policies for AV decision making before deployment. And second one is AI decision. If AI is in full control during the emergency, it will have to make split-second decision based on pre-programmed rules. These rules can be based on ethical principles determined by manufacturers, policymakers, or even user preferences. So who is responsible if AI makes the choices? The manufacturers and owner, the regulators, lawmakers, and shared responsibility. It's, of course, that's we know. Ethical consideration is all these, right? Like utilitarian approach, deontological approach, and consumer choice. So basically, the ChatGPT gives the answer, but not completely clearly, because I think it is an ethical dilemma to depends on what kind of regulation they have. It's more about where they want to put the responsibility on. What do you think? Should AI be programmed in a certain way that AI took the whole responsibility, or should they program in a way it's like more like a real human drive, like depends on the scenario, it's completely random? What do you think? The thing is, after I watched this drama, I realized there are a lot of things that are happening already around us. Like sometimes Amazon Alexa will control the lighting without the owner ask for it. So that's just one little example, but it could be getting more controllable in the future. For example, the temperature for your house. So yeah, is it convenient or is it kind of losing control? The big question is really, should AI override human decision? For me, that's one of the scary part. But Doraemon kind of direction is kind of, Doraemon doesn't really exist, of course, but that kind of program, it's really the most important part is to help people. But how to program in that way, what kind of decision they make, we need to consider. The second point I find is AI should be transparent and trustworthy. That's also the big comparison between the Cassandra and Doraemon. Cassandra never explains its decisions. It just acts expecting human to trust it, right? It actually shows emotions and then this controllable facial expression, which is the most creepy part. The family has no idea how it works, making them feel powerless. In this part, I'm not big fan of this drama because somehow I feel like the family too much trust this old machine in the basement of their house. They should have just shut down so many scenarios, but they didn't. So that's because they have to make the whole story go a certain way. I understand that. I'm not talking about how they tell the story. I'm just talking about what makes Cassandra so terrifying. Because when you compare to Doraemon, he explains his tools and how they work every single time. He never hides information from Nobita. And then he also warns him about the risk of misusing technology. So Nobita can make informed choices. In so many cases, I see how Doraemon, when he pull out all these tools, it's very exciting, make you excited, want to try. And of course, Nobita is a little boy, he will overuse it or use it the wrong way. But instead of not telling him, since the secret part is the scary part, right? If he hides what the tools really is, I think that will make Doraemon become a horror anime. He never hides it. He will show. Sometimes he even fall into those mistakes with Nobita. I think that's another part. We really see Doraemon as a friendly robot. In this scenario, I also see certain kind of real life example. I heard news about how ChatGPT diagnoses some diseases for certain patients. And even some developer couldn't explain why it can make such good decisions, such good diagnosis in certain cases. If even developers cannot explain, the big question and concern here is, should AI always explain itself what kind of decision they make? Even if they have all the answers, should we trust it? So I asked ChatGPT this question: can you explain how you generate answer? What factors influence your responses? Do you have personality? It gives really general, quite decent answer because it says it based on the pattern recognition, prediction, context awareness, and because you remember the ongoing conversation with me, and the knowledge base and algorithm probabilities. That what influenced ChatGPT answer mostly is my input, the stored context, the tone style of my communication, ethical safety guidelines, that's from the programmer, right? The manufacturer programmer, and real-time web searches. Does it has a personality? Yes and no. ChatGPT said, I don't have emotions, desire, or subjective opinions like human does. However, I adapt my tone style and engagement level based on how you communicate. For example, I can be analytical if you want deep discussions. I can be casual and witty if you want chatting informally. I don't have personal bias. I can reflect and analyze different perspectives to help you think through ideas. So quite interesting, right? When we have a robot in the future, maybe by what we communicate with the robot, the AI system inside a robot, the robot will find a way to adjust your personality and the way you communicate with them. But what is creepy is if the robot doesn't show why they make the decision. It doesn't give you this emotional connection. Or maybe you are not the kind of person like to communicate your emotion, and the robot copy your way of communicate. I don't know. I cannot really imagine. But from Cassandra and Doraemon, I realized when the information is not revealed so much, the communication is not there. It make it more creepy. So yeah, how can we trust them? The third one is pretty common that I find. What is scary is the AI should respect privacy and boundaries. Of course, in the horror kind of style, Cassandra watches the family constantly, learning their emotions, habits, and weakness. And then instead of helping, it crosses the personal boundaries. It looks very scary when, for example, when she realized the owner, main character, the lady, has some trauma in the past, and she would do the exactly same thing to her because she has jealousy in her mind. That's another creepy part. In Doraemon's anime, he respects personal space a lot. He only helps when he asked by Nobita. He never makes decisions out of nowhere, and he doesn't spy on Nobita as well. He let him make his own decisions. The big question is, do we want AI to constantly watching us, and do we want them to eventually read our emotions, interact based on our emotions, but sometimes cross the boundaries? Because it's really hard to, each person also have different kind of boundaries. It's really hard to set a rule about what kind of boundary. I think the best scenario will be like have the ethical guidance to allow AI to constantly ask questions like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Do you allow me to do this? Is it too much for me to do that? Based on this drama, I can see that that's totally what I want in the future if I have a robot in my house. The fourth one I realized is AI should promote growth, not dependence. In the Cassandra's drama, the AI makes every decision. The family stop thinking for themselves eventually, and over time they become passive, rely on the AI for everything. And then Doraemon's approach is Doraemon guides Nobita but doesn't remove his struggles. Whenever Nobita has a problem, Doraemon always provide tools, but at the same time, most of the time, it will make Nobita realize his own problem, even though it's really hard to change. And Nobita fails and learns, making himself become a better person and totally attached with Doraemon. That's another side. But when it comes to the topic about not being dependent, I have find out recently, most of the time when I have a question, instead of Google, I really just ask ChatGPT, and it kind of give me this dependent on ChatGPT kind of feeling. And I'm aware of that. I try not to do it, but it does save a lot of time. The conscience keep telling me don't relay or count on ChatGPT all the time. I need to have my own thought process and research, think critically by yourself. And I made a whole video about it. There's a book about it. I think the most important thing at this point is to at least realize that if you're counting too much on AI. So the big question here is, should AI make life easier, or should AI challenge us to think more? I didn't really ask more questions to ChatGPT because I realized all the answers based on the previous video I did about asking DeepSeek and ChatGPT different answers. I feel like they're programmed in a way giving us the answer we want to hear, and it's pretty neutral answer. Nothing really scary at this point. Sometimes people will find disturbing answer once in a while, but when I ask the same question, it doesn't really come out the same answer. So it probably based on who's asking. Why I want to make this video is because when I watch Cassandra and I realize how much Cassandra is taking control as AI, not giving too much information to the owner. And well, when I think about Doraemon, it really shows how AI and robot can empower people and help in a certain way that no other people can help. So it's really give me this contrast that I want to show you here. In the near future, we have more advanced robots or AI assistant beside us, helping our life gets better, I hope. I do think we really need to consider how should AI assist us, by not controlling us? And how should it help us think better instead of think for us? Also, how should AI prioritize humanity instead of prioritize efficiency? It is what we choose, and it is happening. It's just very fascinating to look at all these questions right here and what kind of future we want. If you have any experiment with ChatGPT, the interesting question answers with other AI system, or your own idea about what kind of future you want, please comment on my video. I'm really happy to start a conversation. I can't believe actually I'm talking about this nowadays and feel like it's so close to our life now. Thank you so much for your time. Please subscribe to my channel for new updates every week. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.